So on this car, this is our 1970 340 Cuda. So this is a 340 automatic. It's a factory rear window louver car. It's a really neat car. It's a factory hockey stick stripe car. It's EV2 Tour Red. So far, we've completely stripped the body, completely disassembled the body, replaced nearly every panel on it. I'm talking about quarter panels, in and outer wheelhouses, trunk floor extensions, rear body panel. We're talking about center trunk floor, rear seat, under seat pans, both step wells, front aprons, and core support. Although we were able to save the original numbers in the upper tie bar because it was still in good shape. After that, we went through, we completely restored the rear end, and it's installed, and it's all out to spec for an 8 3/4 with a 323 sure grip on it. New drive shaft, had that made for the car only because this car isn't 100% numbers matching, and I'd rather put a new one in than an old crusty, rusty one, so that's got a new one in it. Motor and transmission, the 340 and the 727, which is correct behind the 340, not a 904 like a lot of people think, has been completely rebuilt. AMCO did that for us last year. The engine has been completely rebuilt. All the suspension K-member, upper and lower radiator hoses, everything that goes on these cars is brand new, and this car is ready to start. The other car that we're working on today is Mark & Elena's 1970 Cuda 383 automatic. It came out here, we disassembled it, had the body dipped, brought it back, and since then we put quarters, outer wheelhouses, trunk floor, and trunk floor extensions in it, and one floor pan, the driver's side floor pan. The rest of it was in really good shape. Then we did the body and the paint and the assembly. The assembly included rebuilding the original 8 3/4 rear end with a 323 sure grip and a 489 case. The automatic transmission is a 727 torque flight. The owner had his friend build that transmission and the engine, which is a really healthy 383 that, if you recall back to a season or so ago, you saw us started up on the engine run stand. So we know it did run. Now we just have to have all the plumbing right on it so it'll run today, which is your spark plug wires, carburetor, ignition, things like that. The rest of it's all built out. You'll notice a lot of things on this car that are not OEM. We've talked about that before. We know that when you look around the shop and you see the cars, every one of them's OEM. This one we straight on, and I primarily did that because, you know, the owner's always right, and as we started working on the car, he started talking about the things that he remembered seeing on cars that he had wanted from the time he was a kid, and I felt like, you know what, it's not a numbers matching, it doesn't have the original engine in it, who cares? Everything else under the hood, as far as like the exhaust manifolds, that's original stuff, power brake, booster, master cylinder, that's original, windshield washer reservoir, the things that go on around it, all the peripheral things, even right down to the radiators, a correct 22-inch, which is correct for the 383, where a 440 would have had. In 71, it could have had a 22-inch, or in 70, it could have had a 22-inch if you didn't have air conditioning. If you had air conditioning, you would have got the 2998 956, which would have gave you the 26-inch radiator. So this is the correct radiator, even though it's an aftermarket replica of the original. So right now, they're filling up the rest of the fluids on the 340 Cuda. I'm getting ready to go over a couple of little last-minute things on the 70 Cuda 383 car, and in a few minutes, we're hoping we're going to smell some exhaust fumes.